So, Liam, can you tell me about where the idea for Care Tech Guide originally came from and where this all started?
Certainly, yeah. So thanks, Louie. It was 2018. I was the registered manager of a care service in Shropshire, and that particular service, very well run, but had paper care plans. And as a registered manager, I kind of experienced how difficult it can be to maintain the quality of care when the paper records are static. We don't get alerts on things. So I thought, there must be some tech out there that does this. I came from logistics before where everything does have a high level of tech. So I was doing a level 5 qualification as part of being a registered manager, and I chose to do the project on digital care planning. And in a nutshell, I came up with some Google search terms, found about 80 suppliers, spoke to a few of them, questionnaires, various things. But there was a couple of things that came out really strong from this research. First of all, very difficult to differentiate the suppliers. They all seemed quite similar. Secondly, it's difficult to differentiate the products because suppliers were using the same words to talk about the products. And thirdly, and the main learning was you simply can't do an online search to find tech for care. And that's, in a nutshell, where the sort of the essence of the idea came from.
So you knew there were some problems, but we still weren't anywhere near solutions. What did you do next? When did you kind of get on that eureka moment? What were your next steps?
Yeah, so I could see that there's a potential gap in the market. So once care providers are looking for tech, they'll find the online search doesn't work. And okay, so what do we need for that? We need some sort of directory, some sort of resource. Well, that sounds really exciting, but actually that's quite a big project. And whilst I understood some of it as being a sort of care provider, I thought, well, I don't have the sort of technical expertise to develop a sort of product database, a supplier database, understanding the technical stuff. So I thought I need a partner who's factual, who can do detail, who can sort of conceptually understand how to do it. So I was looking through LinkedIn, and I found this gentleman called Louie Werth Care Research. I thought that sounds like the sort of thing I need. So I just randomly rang this gentleman out of the blue.
And I remember receiving that phone call. I remember it was kind of in January. And I remember kind of receiving it and kind of very quickly realizing that you were onto something. I'd only kind of recently joined the sector, but I'd already kind of started to recognize that there was this information gap. I think over the years, as we kind of talked and kind of thrashed it through, I think of the main kind of ideas we came up with was there needs to be some kind of rubber stamping. We
Yeah,
somehow need some kind of quality frameworks.
yeah,
What's good and
framework.
what's
That's
not.
it. Yeah, yeah,
And then the next kind of idea that kind of really came through, and I remember sitting in a car park and thinking of it and calling you about it. We need to have a compare the market approach to care tech. This idea of on one screen, you can see all of the emails after each other.
yeah,
You can compare them. You can send emails. I remember calling you about it and
yeah,
you felt like, oh, interesting. Let me think about it. Was your
yeah.
response?
That's right. Yeah,
What happened from then is we knew we had these two ideas. We didn't quite know what they might become or what they look like. But the next step was to really test whether we were anywhere close to anything meaningful. And
yeah.
that's kind of the next part of the venture was when you then went out to the wider sector to say, we're working towards this. Any thoughts? How did that process?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always had a sort of lifelong interest in sort of leadership, entrepreneurship, and stuff like that. And so I thought, okay, so we've got the essence of a real problem. There's potentially a gap in the market. We've got some assumptions around what we think that'll be, and the research project gave us an idea. But that's not strong enough in and of itself
Mm.
to essentially build a business. So what we looked to do, we developed a lot of the concepts that became the CareTech Guide. But what we actually did was to test those assumptions by starting to engage with with the different stakeholders. So it started with suppliers, talking to care providers. Would you go on it? And then in time, I started to identify who are some of the main voices in social care that we need to engage with. Because not just having a good idea, it's about having people with you. So that's where my research started to go towards finding out about Care England, about National Care Forum, and then we were really fortunate to get the support of a serial entrepreneur called Angela Fletcher, who gave us a loan into the business because she believed into it. And then I came across these two characters called Katie Thorne and Daniel Casson, and we've got Daniel here. So hi, Daniel. How you doing?
Hello. Hello. Hi. Yeah, I remember when you came to me. It was great. We met at a pub in Islington.
That's right. Yeah,
Katie and I had been working with digital social care.
that's right.
And we've been having these informal chats between us about what we needed. How do we had how do we compare all these success stories we're hearing?
Yeah.
How do people make this choice? And you came to me with this idea. Well, within 10 minutes, I knew this was where I had to go. This was what was needed. And you'd done so much for thinking that what I could do was actually bring more people on board.
Yeah.
So not maybe add more expertise, but bring more people to the knowledge of what was needed.
Yeah.
And then we clicked quite quickly on that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
We all started to fit together.
Yeah.
And build very, very naturally. Katie and I would talk long hours about it, why this is needed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think there was kind of another kind of final stage. We knew we had a possible solution. We knew that solution was considered to be valuable by both tech suppliers and care providers. And so we entered into the NCF Innovation Hub Challenge.
That's right. Yeah.
And that was where we started to get really important feedback. But there was another little bit of the pie missing. And that was that idea of, in your team, who knows about all of the implementation processes around creating tech and so on and so forth. And as a result of those discussions, we came into contact with Geraint and Blythe, who are here. Tell us about your experience of meeting up.
So yeah, Blythe and Gary indeed. So Blythe, it was about a year ago, wasn't it, where we had this idea for a compare the market to we got really close to actually developing it. We really did. Until when did we find?
We were preparing for the care show last year and looking on LinkedIn, and we saw the Care Innovation Challenge from NCF, and I was like, who's this Care Tech Guide? That sounds like what we're doing. Hang on a minute, we need to speak to them.
So there was a fateful phone call. Liam, do you remember it?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I was still in my conservatory and we were having this conversation of whether I compete with Liam or become friends with Liam. And thankfully, definitely became that friend. So, to come across a really well-formed idea, we were able to bring that technical expertise that you were just talking about. And, we have a bit of a superpower.
It's been a very exciting year, injecting pace into Care Tech Guide and actually getting this site developed, and we're now ready to take it out there.
And I think what's really exciting now is to see where it has developed over the next 5 years.